In the year 3125, the galaxy was a canvas of blinking stars and swirling nebulas, a testament to humanity's tenacity. Fleet Admiral Gregor's voice echoed through the hallowed halls of the Galactic Council, resonating with authority and pride as he stood before an assembled audience of officers and bureaucrats. Today, we celebrate our greatest achievement, the Armada. More than 200 supercarriers, the pinnacle of human engineering, ready to defend the core worlds against any threat. A hushed reverence filled the atmosphere, eyes wide with admiration. At the front of the crowd stood Captain Elias Trent, commander of the flagship USS Valor. With his tousled hair and sharply defined jaw, he was both confident and reckless. Notorious for his daring maneuvers in combat, Trent often pushed his crew's limits to secure victory, earning him a mix of admiration and concern. As the Admiral detailed the technological advances that powered the carriers, Trent's heart swelled with pride. Each ship was a marvel, boasting the latest in laser weaponry and advanced shielding technology. Yet hidden beneath his bravado, a nagging thought stirred. In a galaxy fraught with threats, how safe could humanity really be? "Captain Trent," Admiral Gregor called, pulling Trent from his reflections. The spotlight shifted to him, eliciting applause. "You are at the forefront of our defense. How does it feel to command such a vessel?" Trent smiled, fueled by adrenaline. "It's an honor, Admiral. The Valor and her crew are prepared to face any challenge. We will not falter." Yet, as he departed the council chamber, unease gnawed at his gut. The comms buzzed to life, catching his attention. On his screen flashed an urgent transmission. "Admiral, we're picking up an unidentified fleet on the outer sensors. The trajectory puts them heading straight for Earth." The news sent chills down Trent's spine. Soon the council chambers were alive with discussions of impending threat. The name on everyone's lips was Empress Zelaria of the Zephyrian Empire, a name known from ancient cautionary tales. Rumors spoke of her insatiable hunger for conquest, her ruthless tactics, and advanced technology capable of shredding human defenses. Despite the Council's warnings, skepticism filled the air. "Are we to believe that a mere alien matriarch threatens us?" one officer scoffed, brushing aside the implications. Trent's lips pressed into a firm line. "We cannot underestimate her. History is filled with tales of those who dismissed a threat, only to regret it." Steeling himself, Trent headed back to the Valor, his mind racing with thoughts of the coming conflict. His crew, their lives depended on the decisions he would make. Little did he know that soon he would face a reality far grimmer than his fears, awakening a furious Empress whose vendetta against humanity would change the course of galactic history. As the USS Valor soared through the stars, the weight of the earlier discussions clung to the air. Lights flickered across the bridge, contrasting with the stillness of space outside. Trent observed his crew, each face etched with determination, eyes reflecting the burgeoning tension surrounding them. "Captain, we have a dozen ships confirmed on long-range sensors," said Lieutenant Mia Chen, her fingers flying over the controls. The holographic display showed an imposing fleet of sleek black ships headed toward Earth. "They're moving fast, at least twice our speed." "This isn't a drill," Trent stated, the gravity of the situation sinking in as Admiral Gregor's warning echoed in his mind. "Prepare for immediate analysis of their formations. We need to anticipate their tactics." With each passing moment, the hair on the back of Trent's neck stood on end. He understood the Zephyrian renown. Stories of their conquests reached even the most remote corners of the galaxy. They had advanced combat technology, cloaking capabilities. Rumors even suggested a weapon strong enough to obliterate entire planets. As the Valor's engines roared to life, a sense of urgency spread through the ship. Officers buzzed around the bridge, adrenaline coursing through them. "Rendezvous with the Second Fleet and prepare for combat protocol," Trent commanded, his voice firm and steady despite the apprehension lurking beneath. Meanwhile, on the bridge of Zelaria's flagship, the Imperial Fist, the alien Empress surveyed the vastness of space with cool disdain. Zelaria emanated an aura of command, her emerald skin shimmering against the muted backdrop of stars. Her binary eyes scanned the surroundings, dissecting every detail. "Prepare the fleet to engage," she ordered, her voice a melodic yet ominous sound. "These humans have far too much pride. It is time to remind them of their place in the universe." As the two forces drew closer, the anticipation grew palpable. The USS Valor met with the Second Fleet, merging forces, an aligned front of human ingenuity and courage, ready to defend their home. "Lieutenant, can we establish contact with their flagship?" Trent asked, burning with the desire to gauge their adversaries. "No response yet," Chen replied, brows furrowed in concentration. "They are not broadcasting any threats." "Perhaps they seek to play games," Nacho, the ship's tactical officer, interjected bitterly. "Let's not fall for their tricks." Trent peered through the forward viewport, eyes narrowing as an armada of the Xiphorian ships materialized on the sensors, unfolding like a dark flower. "We can't allow them near Earth. Prepare to intercept," he instructed, heart pounding. They entered the battlefield with strategy written on every human ship. The first shots were fired. The sound of energy blasts split through the vacuum as chaos erupted outside. Human bravado clashed against Xiphorian precision. Trent's crew held their breath as the Valor engaged. Yet, the unfolding conflict proved brutal and swift. The Xiphorian ships glided through the void like phantoms, their cloaking technology catching the fleet off guard. For every blast that illuminated the abyss, two of Trent's ships succumbed to the unforgiving nature of war. "Captain, incoming fire at 2 o'clock, Chen shouted, urgency bleeding into her tone. "Evasive maneuvers," Trent barked. The Valor tilted and veered, narrowly avoiding a direct hit, but the shockwave rocked the ship. Alarms blared, crew members struggling to maintain steadiness as the tension mounted. "What do we do, Captain?" an officer yelled through the din. In that moment, self-doubt crept into Trent's mind. The stories of Zalaria, the fierce Empress, were no longer whispers. They were reality. The fear began to twist into panic. Trent fought to regain control. "We fight," he declared, rallying his crew. "We show them what humanity is capable of." The Valor responded with firing arcs of its own, but the Xiphorian fleet was unforgiving. Energy bolts coursed through space like malevolent spirits. The humans fought valiantly, but despair lurked ever closer. The clash escalated, ships weaving chaos within the void of stars, illuminated by brief flashes of combat. Finally, the unthinkable happened. The USS Titan, another supercarrier in their fleet, fell victim to a barrage of energy blasts, its hull rupturing as it spiraled into destruction. The sight sent shockwaves through Trent. "No!" he shouted, helplessness filling his stomach. Amidst the ferocity, Trent became aware of the horrific toll of war. The brutality and chaos that he'd naively assumed was a straightforward confrontation felt far more personal now, far more devastating. As the battle raged on, the USS Valor began to falter. The fate of humanity rested heavily on their shoulders as they bore witness to the emerging threat of Zalaria, a threat that would challenge not only their defenses, but their very existence. The aftermath of the brutal encounter left Trent reeling. The USS Valor lay adrift, barely holding together after its harrowing ordeal. Alarms still shrieked, and the air was thick with tension and despair among the surviving crew members, who fought to maintain composure in the face of overwhelming loss. Trent's heart sank as he stared through the viewport at the remnants of the battlefield. Fragments of his fallen comrades drifted in the darkness, pieces of shattered ships that had once been symbols of human might. Only hours ago they had suited up, filled with patriotism and resolve, but now their dreams lay scattered among the stars. "Captain, I'm reading multiple hull breaches and internal damage," Chen reported, her voice strained. "We need to initiate repairs immediately. Morale is plummeting." "How do I tell them that their friends are gone?" Trent muttered, overwhelmed. The faces of the crew, young, vibrant, unyielding, haunted him. They had looked to him for guidance, and he had failed. "We can't dwell on it, Elias," said Commander Daniel Rios, his trusted first officer. "Those we lost wouldn't want us to falter. We must find a way to regroup and plan our next move against Xylaria." Trent clenched his fists, frustration coursing through him. He had put them in harm's way, had arrogantly believed victory was assured. The overwhelming burdens of command washed over him. "Are we even ready to face them again?" Trent asked quietly, almost to himself. Xylaria won't give us a chance, and we are losing this war before it has truly begun. But the very mention of Xylaria stirred something deep within him, a lingering ember of defiance igniting a flame. Though fear enveloped him, anger ignited his will. This was not the end. They could still fight back. Perhaps there was a glimpse of hope amidst the crushing despair. He remembered an old phrase spoken often in the Naval Academy: "Out of chaos comes unity." It motivated generations to cling to resilience. Determined, he stood taller. "Prepare for damage control," he commanded, "and send out communications to the remaining fleet. We need all the allies we can get." As the crew worked tirelessly to mend the ship, Trent found himself pacing the quiet corridors. Memories of the crew members lingered in every corner, their laughter, camaraderie, and shared dreams. And yet, amidst those memories, another surge of recollection broke through. The moment he had crossed paths with Xylaria, not as a conqueror, but a weapon forged in anger and ambition. How could one being encapsulate both beauty and menace? Trent could still hear her voice echo as they locked eyes, a reminder that there was intelligence and purpose behind the seemingly impenetrable alien facade. That evening, while the crew regrouped, Trent initiated a video call with the remnants of the fleet. He appeared before them, aware of his responsibilities to inspire amidst uncertainty. "Fellow officers, we stand at a crossroads," he began, his voice steady but resonant with emotion. "Today we faced a fierce adversary. We cannot allow fear of Xylaria's might to sway our resolve." Moments of silence filled the air, uncertainty evident on the faces of his crew. "The losses we endured today weigh heavily on our hearts, but we must honor those who fell by rising stronger. They fought valiantly to protect our way of life. We owe it to them to continue this fight. Let's show them what we're capable of," Trent urged. "We may have suffered today, but we will learn from our mistakes. Our strength lies in ingenuity. We know our ships, our technology, and we know ourselves." As his speech concluded, the response was immediate. A collective nod among officers, unity bolstered in the face of adversity. It felt as if they'd reconnected, a glimmer of hope igniting as determination coursed through the ship. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly to repair the Valor and devise new strategies. The crew collaborated seamlessly, sharing ideas and tactics to turn the tide against Xylaria. Each crew member showed visible grit, a testament to their humanity's indomitable spirit. Days later, an unexpected message came through as they tuned into galactic channels, a distress signal from a surviving carrier. Thousands fought to protect their own humanity, which had become crucial amid mounting fears. "This is our opportunity," Rio said one evening at the planning table as they decoded the signal input. "If we can reach this carrier before the Zephyrians, we can strengthen our ranks." "Indeed, it's time we make our stand," Trent affirmed, determination burning in their eyes. "Initiate a rescue mission." With newfound purpose driving their actions, the crew prepared to set course toward the distress signal. Energy surged through the Valor, hope riding on their shoulders. They had faced darkness, and they would adhere to the creed that triumph could emerge from the shadows. As they headed toward the distress signal emanating from the beleaguered carrier, the atmosphere aboard the USS Valor crackled with a sense of determination. The men and women of the crew embraced their renewed purpose, ready to intertwine their fates with those who had survived the initial onslaught of Xyphoria. Following the commotion of repairs, the Valor managed to restore its engines, with systems humming back to life. Captain Trent stood at the center of the command bridge, smiles and camaraderie flickering as they prepared for the mission. "Prepare for a simulated approach," Trent instructed, addressing his team. "We need to work out a plan that gets us in and out while being mindful of Zephyrian patrols. Based on the signal's coordinates, I estimate we'll arrive in under 2 hours, Chen added, fingers dancing across her consoles, plotting the trajectory. Good. Let's run a training simulation to rehearse our entry strategy. We'll anticipate any attacks. I want everyone to be in sync, both in thought and action, Trent replied. With a nod, Rios began coordinating a series of drills. Over the skills training, officers engaged in intense tactical simulations. They practiced evasive maneuvers, combat drills, and maintenance procedures necessary to ensure every component of the carrier functioned at its best. The bridge became a flurry of activity, laughter cutting through the tension as they shared light-hearted banter amidst the urgency. "Remember to watch your six, officer. I'd hate for you to fall into a Xiphorian ambush," Nacho teased, smirking as he monitored the training scenarios. Their laughter echoed, lightening the steadily building pressures weighing on their shoulders. While moral support invigorated the crew, Trent felt heartened. The atmosphere shifted. They were no longer simply reacting to circumstance. They were now strategizing, plotting, and testing their mettle against the threats ensnaring them. Time and again, they cycled through drills, until the training evolved into a well-honed symphony, a choreography of commands flowing from Trent, amplified by whispers of strategy echoing amongst the crew. He reveled in the unity taking shape. Finally, the moment of truth arrived as they approached the carrier responding to their distress signal. USS Quasar, another supercarrier flashing faint signals from within. The Valor evaded patrolling Xiphorian ships, seamlessly carving its path through the vacuum. "Commencing signal verification," Chen said, biting her lip with nervous anticipation. After a beat of silence, the comms crackled as a familiar face appeared, a blend of relief and exhaustion etched onto Crew Commander Hannah Leclerc's features, hastily presenting her frequency. "Valor, this is Quasar. We're taking heavy damage from the assault. Our crew is struggling to maintain systems and many are wounded. We need immediate assistance." "Quasar, we're here to help," Trent promised, his voice steady as he took charge. "What can we do?" "The shuttle bay is compromised and we're low on power. We'll need support extracting wounded crew members from our medbay," Leclerc replied. "But we have incoming Xiphorian ships on our radar. They'll be here any second." "Lieutenant Chen, can you navigate a pathway to their medbay without exposing our hull?" Rios asked, his brow furrowing as they strategized on the fly. "Yes, but we'll be pushing our cloaking capabilities to the limit," she warned. "We need to be cautious." "Just do it. Time is of the essence," Trent said. With their combined resources, the Valor maneuvered quietly, masking its presence as they slipped into the Quasar's vicinity. Under cover of darkness, their boarding team prepared for deployment, adrenaline racing through their veins. "Boarding party ready," Rios confirmed, assembling a tactical squad to help escort Quasar's crew members to safety. "Remember, stay alert, stay focused. We're not just bringing people back, we're saving our own," Trent affirmed, igniting the resolve in their hearts. The crew stormed the Quasar, a frenzy of motion as they navigated the damaged corridors. The ship felt alive with chaos, crew members hustling to maintain order as alarms cacophonously blared. "Commander Leclerc, prioritize those in critical condition," Trent instructed as they rapidly engaged in search and rescue operations. "We must move swiftly before more Xiphorian support arrives." The team split, racing through the wreckage. At times, the walls groaned, and debris threatened to cave in around them. Sweat mingled with adrenaline, driving them onwards until they reached the medbay. Inside, they found the disarray evident. Injured crew members lay scattered, many without medical assistance as vital equipment broke around them. Heartache struck Trent, but determination pushed him forward. "Got you," he murmured as he stabilized one crew member and directed the team into action, his voice breaking through the chaos. The collective action grew into a rhythm, coordinated and purposeful. They assessed injuries, stabilized conditions, and prepared the wounded for evacuation. "Time to move!" Rios shouted, raising his voice as alarms escalated. The energy pulsed around them, an underlying threat looming ever closer, forcing them to act quickly. With every passing moment, Trent felt a rush of pride in his crew. Their resilience shone through the horrors they faced. They weren't just saving lives, they were uniting against an unstoppable threat. Finally, the last few wounded were secured, and the group reevaluated their situation. "We need to get back to the Valor before Xylarian reinforcements arrive," Trent urged. "We can lay low and be ready for whatever comes next." As they hastily retreated through the corridors, the onboard alarms blared a reminder that time was no longer on their side. Suddenly, the roar of engines shrieked outside, and the unmistakable silhouettes of Xiphorian vessels loomed closer. "Move, move," Trent yelled, guiding the men and women back toward the shuttle bay. The urgency drove them forward, unwilling to accept defeat. They sculpted their resolve amid the ebb and flow of chaos, embodying the resilience of humanity itself. The valorous escape solidified a newfound bond, a unity born from shared struggle. With each life saved and each moment of peril endured, the crew solidified their determination to stand strong against the rising storm of the Zephyrian Empire. With the USS Valor now reunited with the surviving crew of the Quasar, the atmosphere on board shifted dramatically. Grateful faces filled the halls, a renewed spirit bolstering their collective resilience. The workshops and medbays buzzed with life as repairs and recoveries took shape. Trent stood at the helm, listening to the murmurs of his crew, but he could still feel echoes of loss. The ghosts of his fallen comrades sparked a fire inside him, a determination to ensure their sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. The grief only intensified his resolve to confront the threat represented by Zalaria's forces. As they neared a strategic rendezvous point, he gathered the crew for a meeting in the Valor's command center. "Listen up, everyone," he called, his voice cutting through the low hum of concern. "Today we faced adversity, but our unity shines brighter than any threat we encounter. I want to honor those who fought bravely. They wouldn't want us to waver now." The room turned solemn but resolute, every crew member's face reflecting unwavering support for one another. "We've gathered valuable resources and allied strength. The Quasar crew is now part of this ship. Our combined experiences can forge an indomitable front." Rios chimed in, standing alongside Trent. "While we were on the front lines, we gathered intel. Zephyrian ships aren't unbeatable. We'll use their strategies against them. Together, we'll craft a trap." Chen scrolled through the tactical maps on the digital board overhead, scanning the terrain. "The Zephyrians are currently regrouping, refitting their vessels for the next offensive. We have a brief window to act before they come for us again. If we can predict their approach, we can set a counterstrike." "Good. We need to lure them away from their stronghold. If we can draw them in, we can catch them off guard while disguising our actual strength," Trent directed the discussion, energy building with every exchanged idea. As plans solidified and strategies coalesced, the Valor burst into action, a well-oiled machine fueled by tenacity. They commandeered resources from the Quasar and intensified training exercises. Crew members familiarized themselves with the latest tactics and salvage technology. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as officers partnered up in focus drills. "Let's move, cadets," Rios urged, reinforcing their preparedness. "We have enemies to outsmart and we won't become targets." Throughout the days leading to their counterattack, many exchanged banter over tactical screens, camaraderie flourishing in the urgency of the moment. Bonds formed, friendships recreated, each moment pressing them closer to an interconnected family defying the odds. Yet the specter of Xylaria loomed ominously over their preparations. Trent couldn't shake the feeling of approaching doom, the relentless march of the Zephyrian Empire. It haunted his thoughts, driving him to wonder about their next encounter with Xylaria. Back on the bridge, he examined incoming intel, analyzing the movements of the Zephyrian fleet. "Slow down! What do you see, Lieutenant?" he commanded, brows furrowed as fatigue crept into his bones. Chen concentrated, overlaying holographic projections of enemy formations. "They're regrouping here and sending scouts ahead. We need to strike before they reach full capacity in numbers. Our window is closing." "We've trained for this. We've faced pressure because that's where we shine," Trent affirmed, emboldening the entire crew. "Prepare to engage." As they finalized their arrangements, a corner of doubt still nagged at him. What formidable force lay within this alien Empress? Would they truly be prepared for what she had in store? Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. As they entered the designated rendezvous area, the tension escalated. The hum of the ship became a backdrop to the potent anticipation brewing among the crew. Together, they navigated the darkness, vigilant and alert. "Valiant warriors of humanity," Trent addressed the assembled crew before battle commenced, pride swelling in his voice. "Today, we reclaim our destiny. For every soul lost, we fight harder. For every setback, we rise stronger. We're not just fighting for survival, we're fighting for the very concept of humanity itself. We endure together." As the Valor locked itself in its position, sensors picked up incoming dread along the radar, Xylarian ships materialized, vessels crafted with menace, gliding toward them like wolves in the night. Trent steeled himself. This was the moment they'd prepared for. "Let's see if Xylaria's reputation precedes her," he murmured. "Quasar, are you ready?" "Quasar stands armed and ready," Commander Leclerc replied confidently. "We'll back your moves, Captain. Valor, prepare weapons. Engage cloaking devices," Trent ordered, heart racing as the sleek curves of the enemy ships neared. "Engines firing." Chen gripped her controls. "We're locked, Captain, awaiting your command." "Here they come. At my signal, we spring the trap," Trent replied, lungs tight as the moment stretched into eternity. At that moment, Xylaria's fleet emerged. A deafening roar echoed as weapons discharged, lighting up space like deadly fireworks. The Valor's crew clung to the ship's guardrails, eyes locked on the unfolding chaos, breath caught in anticipation. "Now," Trent shouted, "engage weaponry, forward shields at maximum." With his heart pounding, adrenaline surged. Energy blasts flowed from their ships, meeting the Zephyrian onslaught head-on. The trap they set began to unravel, the human ingenuity of tactical deception catching the enemy off guard. With each blast that illuminated the void, the Kang swiftly countered, with humanity's resilience rising to meet the challenge. Forward shields held, and a chorus of shouts resonated on the Valor as emotion surged, courage intertwined seamlessly with resolve. The tense battle escalated, vessels weaving through ripples of fire and darkness, a breathtaking showcase of strategy and design in the face of danger. Every officer maneuvered with newfound purpose, reclaiming their destiny amidst adversity. "You're not alone ever again," Leclerc's voice rang clear as explosions danced around them. "Every life we save today ensures we survive the trials ahead." And together they stood, far removed from the shadows of death. Each energy blast fired spoke of humanity's struggle and certainty, and their united front thundering into the chaos catalyzed their emergence from the depths of uncertainty. As the battle escalated, the USS Valor and the USS Quasar danced through the maelstrom of energy and death. Trent's heart raced as determination surged through him. This was an ultimatum, a moment to either collapse under fear or rise to glory. As the Zephyrian flagship, the Imperial Fist, approached, he felt a sense of prophecy erupting within him. "Captain, we're encountering heavy resistance ahead," Chen shouted. "They've dispatched strike teams toward us." "Focus on the Imperial Fist. They lead the charge," Trent ordered determinedly. "We breach their defenses. We take down their flagship." The ships maneuvered into formation, delivering coordinated energy blasts towards the approaching Zephyrian vessels. Each blast pierced the void, showering sparks across the dark canvas of space. The crew rallied, determination palpable in every heartbeat. "Prepare to engage in evasive maneuvers," Rios urged, coordinating their actions as the enemy fire came in waves. The Valor heaved through explosive tidal hazards, a ship bred for endurance and strength. As enemy rounds collided dangerously close, Trent felt the adrenaline coursing through his veins. The battle crystallized into raw instinct. He gripped the controls of his ship, directing fire toward the oncoming assault, every instinct sharp and unwavering. "Advance to flank their defenses," he shouted, rallying his officers. "We will overwhelm them with sheer determination. For every life lost, we become stronger." "What about the Imperial Fist?" Leclerc pressed, glancing at the massive flagship leading the charge while the chaos engulfed their surroundings. The gravitational presence of the Zephyrian ship loomed ominously. "No time for trepidation," Trent bolstered the crew. "Focus fire on their weapons systems. We can't let them fire on our allies." With precision honed by desperation, the Valor rushed forward, engaging in a series of perilous maneuvers to breach the gaps between the Zephyrian ships, dodging energy pulses that split through space. Time and again, their larger opponents sought to cage them, but Trent's adept navigation allowed for cunning diversions. "Zephyrian vessels are closing in, shields at 50%, Chen reported, a hint of panic lacing her voice. "Evasive action. Rios, stand by for reinforcements at the ready," Trent commanded, teeth clenched as the stakes steadily climbed. Yet annoyance and determination ignited a fire in Trent's resolve. The indigo hues of the Valor melded with the fiery chaos around them, rising toward a combined will of daring action. "Trent, "We've broken through," Rios shouted, adrenaline sparking his words. "The Imperial Fist is open to breach. We can engage with all available firepower." Fueled by the fire of newfound resolve, Trent felt leaden adrenaline, the moment crystallizing amidst shouts and the vibrations of battle. "Prepare to engage. Go for their engines. We need to sever their resources." Every laser cannon burst into life, unleashing concentrated streams directed toward the massive flagship, showering it in pulses of bright color as chaos erupted against the deep void. The Imperial Fist struggled, and with it brought the realization of the potential that lay ahead. "Captain, breaches in their hull signal structural weaknesses," Chen informed, excitement creeping into the static reporting. "It's working." "Good, let's break the will of their forces," Trent urged, narrowing his gaze on the enemy flagship's bridge. Through the chaos, he glimpsed her, Zalaria, regal and powerful, directing her forces with irrefutable authority. Her demeanor exuded danger and brilliance, peering at her adversaries with fury blazing within her striking binary eyes. At that moment, time slowed. Trent met her gaze, silently promising to end this ordeal. He had watched too many fellow comrades fall. This day would not belong to the Zephyrian Empire. "Rios, we must breach the Imperial Fist," Trent urged. "Follow our leads and amplify energy weapons toward their core." As they dove into the vortex of warfare, the Valor surged forward, breaking through the defenses. With every vital pulse interspersed in the void, Zalaria's dance of destruction met with human ingenuity, a cascade of sparks exploding across the darkness. "Regain control. Alter course," Zalaria commanded, her voice laced with authority, countering orders and insisting on retaliation. "We cannot let the humans prove their strength." But it was too late. The Valor soared towards the Imperial Fist, surging with anticipation. "All hands, brace for impact," Trent shouted, the undeniable urge of fear shifting toward fury as they prepared for the concluding chapter of this engagement. As Trent positioned his ship closer, knowing that they were about to pierce through the heart of the enemy, he felt the adrenaline surge beyond control. "On my mark," he asserted, feeling electricity course through his veins. "Engage! Turn their instincts against them," Trent bellowed, weary resolve hardened by the scars of battle. As their weapons discharged into the very core, the Valor surged into the heart of the flagship. With a cataclysmic explosion, they tore through the walls of the Imperial Fist, the ensuing chaos radiating around them. "Captain, they're destabilizing," Chen cried, confusion giving way to surprise as the ship shuddered severely. "Press forward. We have to—" But Trent never finished. An energy surge illuminated and blazed as a shockwave exploded. The Imperial Fist's hull cracked. As the flagship listed in space, its defenses crumbled under pressure, but instead of celebrating, Trent felt a wave of uncertainty loom again. "Might be time to retreat," Rios suggested hurriedly, scrambling through the ship's instruments. "Not yet," Trent affirmed, voice steady yet firm. "We need to show them there's still fight left in us." As realization dawned among the crew, life surged in each pulse of energy aimed directly at the heart of their emerging fear. The momentum of humanity, fired with spirit, began to overcome the oppression that threatened to swallow them mere moments before. In the silence that followed the cataclysmic confrontation, time momentarily slowed. The aftermath brought a sober realization over the remaining crew aboard the USS Valor. The Imperial Fist had crumbled beneath the weight of their combined resilience, sending shockwaves throughout the battlefield itself. As Trent awoke to the hush around him, the void around the ruins of the Zephyrian flagship echoed the finality of a battle well fought. Despite triumphant emotions threading through the crew, cold reality settled in. Loss remained heavy and wounds were still fresh. "Captain," Rios broke the silence, eyes scanning damage reports, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. "We made it. It's over." Trent nodded, heart heavy with the burden of the fallen. "It is for now," he replied, feeling the bittersweet taste of victory linger. He watched their crew, their faces reflecting not just pride, but an undeniable grief that shadowed their triumph. The tide of war seemed to shift that day. Even as they emerged victorious, the question within every soldier was palpable. Would there be an end to this bloodshed? Amidst the debris, a lone ship surfaced, a Zephyrian transport vessel. Its hailing signal reached their ports, summoning an uncharacteristic calm at the edges of trench warfare. "Captain Trent, they are requesting an audience," Chen reported, surprise coloring her voice. "An audience? From who?" he replied, an edge of skepticism present. "Zelaria," Chen stated, eyes wide with disbelief. Trent felt the world tilt as emotions collided. A mixture of anger, despair, and confusion washed over him. What could she possibly want? As the communications channel opened, the form of Empress Zelaria flickered into being on the screen, her binary eyes piercing through Trent's soul. The emerald hue of her skin glimmered amidst the chaos of her fallen allies, and he could see remnants of pride now tangled with the loss threading through her presence. "Captain Trent," her voice smoothed over the air, imposing yet resonant with humility. "We've lost much, our ships, our soldiers. The void has echoed with the screams of desperation and hatred. I am offering a truce." Trent narrowed his eyes, grappling with disbelief. A truce after destruction? Was it mere folly, or was something more complex stirring beneath? "You come at a time where the injustice has cost hundreds of lives. Why should we believe you now?" he challenged, feeling anger bubble beneath his calm disposition. "Because I choose to end this cycle," she replied, a flicker of vulnerability creeping into her powerful gaze. "Fighting has only led to more fighting. Let us honor the fallen by forging a new future, one to consider alliance or at least a coexistent path." A beat passed as uncertainty lingered over the bridge, and Trent exchanged glances with his crew. The flickering remains of their lost friends echoed in every heartbeat, and he felt the tug of humanity beneath it all. "An alliance with the Zephyrian Empire?" Rios scoffed in disbelief, a mix of skepticism etched on his features. "Perhaps," Trent interjected gently, his heart racing, "perhaps it's time we learn from this chaos. We cannot let hatred dictate our choices. We fought bravely. Why not carve out a path toward peace?" Chen nodded slowly, eyes gleaming with newfound insight. "Fighting isn't the only way." Before he could fully comprehend the implications, Zelaria's voice rang clear, cutting through the air as she held out a possibility, a dialogue of hope instead of carnage. For every life that hung in the balance, the tether of unity beckoned forth amidst anguish. "Let us learn and build, together," she concluded, her voice resonating deeply. As Trent absorbed the words, he could feel history fragile at the precipice of change, the challenges of the past interwoven with the potential of the future. Perhaps this was a chance not just for survival, but for a resistance that would bind two worlds once fraught with fear. "Then let's begin this chapter," he said, a faint smile breaking through the facade of lingering doubt. "Together, we will write a new future." And with that, the crew of the USS Valor stood on the brink of a new understanding, a tentative truce crafted from the specters of loss. They emerged from the darkness, light glimmering in the distance, two worlds at last on the verge of unity.